This is the Pilot's News Briefing Podcast. I'm Frank Daniels. With me today is Ana Risano from the Pilot's Newsroom, bringing us the latest news in Moore County. And given that the Winter Storm Fern was a rather mild storm, we're just going to go back to normal news. And there was a Southern Pines Planning Board meeting. Is that what it was? Okay.
Yes. That was last week. They talked about just a couple of code amendment type projects, including one about trees and tree protection, because the town had embarked on a project back in 2024 to create more tree protection. What's the term? To encourage
Guidelines?
more tree protection, through development. But because of a new state law, that all got kind of cut or halted for the last year and a half.
Right. I guess the way that I think of it is the new law, Senate Bill 382, would have the proposed changes that the planning board was looking at are now not able to move forward under the new law.
Correct.
But they talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they're working on ways to still move forward with some of those protection, and maybe now there are more guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's essentially yes. This project comes from the 2040 comprehensive plan, in which the town had a lot of community feedback about what they want to see in the future, and a lot of that was tree protection, save our natural areas. We love trees. And so they started this project, and they don't want to stop. They don't want to just completely end it and be like, well, we can't do anything. So they are looking to kind of take some of that old project and redefine it, and see if they can get it into the town codes in a way that doesn't create any issues with the new state law. And so that looks like right now redefining what open space is. For certain types of development, they have to save 10% as open space or like natural areas. And so looking to redefine that and have kind of a priority list of what to save, like mature tree stands, wetlands, or if needed, like a landscaped buffer. And so that everything that's kind of existing now doesn't create an issue with that new state law.
because that was part of it, is that the law had to allow for existing development to remain within code, right?
Yes, it prohibits the local government from changing codes that create nonconformities or things that do not align with the new code. But historically, local governments have accounted for this and do not have issues with folks who have properties that become nonconforming, because the property can exist as it is unless they plan to redevelop. And then they would have to meet the new code.
So just to make sure that I understand what I was reading, maybe we could just... the way that they're trying to move forward to keep the planned open space conservation projects moving forward is by changing the language in the... Is it the zoning guidelines or the ordinance? Or
The town codes.
the town codes. So changing the language or what open space is defined as, so that they can encourage developers to save certain types of certain things like old growth trees. I think I may have just made it more confusing.
I think it's a little bit confusing right now because it's still in the draft form. But that's essentially yes. They're going to change the definition and have a kind of a priority list of what they want saved and or want brought in. So like they want to save wetlands. That's top of the list.
Okay.
Bottom of the list, landscaped buffers, because maybe a site doesn't have anything on it. It happens sometimes. Either it was previously clear cut, or the new developer came in and cut down what was there, or it just never had anything on it. And so at the end of the priority list are landscaped buffers that are of a certain amount of feet deep and provide similar design. It's just going to take a couple of years for it to grow in.
And I don't know that it might, of course it might be, that might be all we need, but I thought that it was interesting, or it, sorry, I'm tripping over my words today, but it sounds like that this new plan kind of helps with one of the, one thing that developers tend to look for, which is maybe some flexibility in their available options because of the unique nature of different land, different properties.
Yeah, so that was some feedback that Andrew Speck on the planning board gave. He asked about having more flexibility. So I don't know if he would define the draft idea as flexible, but he did ask for the town staff to look at something in which developers can work more with the town rather than have to ask for exceptions.
Okay. Which, to maybe bring it to a close, was kind of the idea of the whole project from the get-go, right? Is to create the ability early in the process for developers to establish these open spaces and these preserved areas to streamline the planning process, right?
Yes. The idea was the first project idea was to not create more hardship or issues. It was to have something set aside early on in the development process that doesn't hinder or hold back anything else.
Okay. Well, thanks for bearing with me. I feel like I'm, as I said, tripping over my words today, but
Me too.
if you have questions about this, you can send Anna an email to ana@thepilot.com. That's Anna@thepilot.com. You can send me an email to frank@thepilot.com, FRANK@thepilot.com. And that's the latest news in Moore County.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.